For 28 years, Alcatraz was the ultimate endpoint for the American penal system, maintaining a perfect record against every inmate who tried to leave. The sheer isolation of the island, surrounded by the frigid, high-velocity currents of the San Francisco Bay, made the prison seem more like a geographic fact than a man-made structure. But Frank Morris arrived with a tool the prison wasn't built to contain: an IQ of 130 and a background in serial escapes. While most inmates looked for a moment of guard negligence or a physical weakness in the bars, Morris looked for vulnerabilities in the prison's operational design. On the night of June 11, 1962, Morris and the Anglin brothers vanished, having neutralized 3 security constraints using little more than discarded prison supplies. Their success suggests that any system, no matter how formidable, is essentially a series of interlocking mechanics that can be analyzed and eventually bypassed. The first constraint was the human element, the recurring nighttime head counts. To buy the hours required for the rest of their plan, they had to remain visible in their beds long after they had actually left them. They fabricated dummy heads from a composite of soap, toothpaste, and concrete dust, finishing the decoys with hair gathered from the barbershop floor to survive a passing glance. The second constraint was the 14 inches of aged concrete behind their sinks. Getting through it required a level of force that would typically be heard throughout the entire cell block. To increase their drilling speed, they salvaged a motor from a broken vacuum cleaner and engineered a high-torque power drill, powering it through the standard electrical outlets in their cells. To manage the noise, they synchronized their work with the daily music hour, ensuring the mechanical whine of the drill was buried under the sound of inmates practicing instruments. One inmate specifically played the accordion, using the instrument's broad acoustic range to drown out the specific high-frequency vibration of the vacuum motor. This demonstrates a holistic approach to the environment. The drill provided the physical solution, but the music hour provided the operational cover. The final physical constraint was the water. The bay's temperatures stay below 55 degrees, meaning anyone attempting to swim would be incapacitated by hypothermia in minutes. Morris spent months in the prison library studying nautical mechanics, using DIY magazines to design a seaworthy vessel from the only materials available in bulk. They eventually hoarded over 50 rubberized prison-issued raincoats, hiding them in a secret workspace they had established in the utility corridor above their cells. By using rubber cement and heat from the prison's steam pipes, they vulcanized the seams of the coats, transforming flat fabric into airtight tubes for a 14-foot pontoon raft. When they finally reached the water's edge, they repurposed the same accordion used for noise masking, reversing its valves to act as a high-volume bellows to inflate the raft. This reuse of limited resources highlights the core of their strategy, finding multiple applications for a single tool to solve disparate problems. Even with a raft, the escapees faced one final chaotic variable. The tides in the bay move millions of gallons of water every hour, creating a current far stronger than any human could row against. The FBI's historical conclusion was that the men aimed for Angel Island, the nearest land, and were simply swept out to sea and drowned. Modern GPS data supports this. Trackers released near the island are almost always swept past nearby landmasses out to sea. However, data reveals a narrow 30-minute window during the tide change where the current shifts from an inward swirl to a direct outward flow. Morris spent months watching the behavior of driftwood and floating debris from the prison yard. He noted that during specific moon phases, the chaotic water briefly stabilized into a single, predictable pull toward the bridge. Historical FBI records confirm that the escapees launched their raft at 11:40 p.m., exactly in the middle of this 30-minute tidal sweet spot. By timing their launch to the minute, they didn't have to fight the bay. The outgoing tide acted as a natural conveyor belt, carrying their raft directly toward the shore near the Golden Gate Bridge. While the men were never seen again, physics confirmed their escape was a viable operation. It remains a masterclass in extreme resilience, proving that even a fortress is just a system of variables waiting to be analyzed.